Ladies and gents, welcome back to the EU Gears Pro League. We are here for the summer quarter. New teams, new names, but we do still have all the normal action that is going to be coming to you for 6 weeks straight. I am here once again with Alexander Frew. How's things going, mate? We've had a little bit of a break. We've now found ourselves with a different team in here as well. How are we feeling, though, Frew? We're excited to get back in the action.
As always, new haircuts as well to kick it all off.
I know we're fully on quarantine haircut. We're just going with the agenda of life right now at this moment in time in the summer quarter. We're full quarantine. We're going with the haircuts, a lot of it, but excited to get back into things through. And it should be a good one. You know, as said in the intro, we have had a couple of changes. And just before we get into things properly, let's have a look at those and see how teams have changed. Of course, one big change this season is, of course, the fact that we don't have Obey Alliance anymore. They do crash out. No Mercy are the ones going to be taking over them. Team Sick, for anybody who did watch the qualifier, and they're going to be a team to watch, I feel, for.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, under that No Mercy name, they're a good bunch of players. Obviously, they've got Reader, J-Rage, they've got a lot of Pro League experience in their physics as well, and they come in as well with Notorious and Red9, two players that are fantastic in their own rights. Definitely a dangerous team.
Very, very dangerous, but looking towards Oxygen as well. Ashens and Skills coming in for Physics and Reaction. When I spoke to Ashens, he turned around and said, we feel as if we're going to bring something else to the table in this team. It's going to be a case of slaying ability being a little bit more powerful for them. So they're going to try and match, and I'm sure we'll see how they do. But do you like these changes? Did you feel as it was a little bit weird from Oxygen, formerly Regal Reserve?
Yeah, I think it is a bit weird, to be honest with you. I can understand the reasoning, right? Go and find those young gun talents and just hope that their raw skill can kind of carry you through. And Ashens, he's been proven, right, in this Pro League. We know with the old Obey roster, he was very, very strong. So I think that's a good pickup. Skills is the unknown for me. I think dropping both physics and reaction might be a bit of a bigger swing than most people are anticipating here. If Skills can come in and play like we know he can play, then for sure this is a good change. But it really is whether or not Skills can perform.
Well, there's the changes. As you can see, though, Elevate and Rated are our top two teams who've been pretty much cemented there for the majority of the EU Gears Pro League are completely unchanged, though. So we will actually see those two face off in our second game. But first and foremost, we are going to see the two new guns to a certain degree against each other first. It will be Oxygen against No Mercy. Let's talk about Oxygen a little bit more. Now, as said, formerly Regal Reserve, a bit of a topsy-turvy season last season. Now, I think the changes coming in, as said, they are a little bit different. They have really went with a different play style. How do we think it is going to suit, though? Because, we said we felt as if last season when they brought in Reaction, that this was the change they needed. There was somebody to help them. It was that, leader, if you like, that we feel as if they needed. It didn't necessarily work out. I said a bit of a up and down season. They went completely different this time around. I said new guns, although some experience brought in as well for.
Yeah, I mean, Ashens has got experience in the Pro League for sure, but he's still a young gun. Like I would say he's one of the younger members in the community still, and especially on this roster, that's still true. I think that the change for me wasn't really necessary. That's kind of how I feel at the moment.
I would have liked to see more time with it personally as well, but.
Yeah, I think that Regal squad was a very experienced squad with Jack, with Physics. They both performed, to be quite honest with you. And I think this might have been a hasty change, but I'm ready to eat my hat on this. I'm ready to be proven wrong, and I hope Ashens and Skills come in and we have this team that can maybe actually take a map or a series off Elevate or off Rated R. That's what they're aiming to do, right? Is to break that top two with this change. They were so close with the old roster. You got to think if they're making this change now, it's got to be a positive one.
Yeah, and I think, when we talk about their record last season, it was probably worse than it sort of felt. Like some of their games were really, really close and things. I mean, look, they lost a couple of really close games, but ultimately they decided to change. Let's see how it does work out. But they are going to be going up against No Mercy now, a completely new team to an extent. Of course, we do have former Pro League members in here, but No Mercy, new organization to Gears. I can already see the owners are in the chat. I hope they're going to enjoy the show. But guys on this team like J-Ridge, like Red9, like Reader, they have experience, but they also have new talent in there as well. Now, I heard that scrims, etc. weren't going fantastic, don't get me wrong, but there is time for this team to maybe breed into something dangerous.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? It's the time that they need. Do they get it? Do they have the opportunity? I think in this first game against Oxygen, they've got the easiest route in, right, in terms of who they're playing first. So that's great. The roster across the board is a very, very strong roster. Jay's had, absolute brilliant moments throughout the qualifiers and throughout the Pro League as well. Red9, formerly, over in NA, has been playing out there and has been performing at a very high level, kind of shook the scene up a little bit over the NA side of things and has come back home. So great to see Red9 back. And then Reader and Physics, that's a long-term duo, right? These guys have been playing together for, a decade, essentially. They're a known value, right? We know they can both perform. Hopefully Reader can have a better Pro League this time around. Notorious. You see him on the right-hand side. We ain't even got a picture from him. That's how secretive this guy is right now.
We should have just put a 1v1 Charles sign or something like that.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah. He is a special kind of talent, right? A generational talent, and is, by many people's estimations, going to be one of the best players in the Pro League this quarter. So very, very interested to see Notorious kind of get on the sticks and play, and hopefully this team can kind of be cohesive and come together and really make a stamp.
Yeah, I'd like to just see them give some time, and if the results don't come instantly, let's see how things do develop, because as I said, they do have experience. They've got that new talent in there as well. It's a nice mix of players, and we'll see how they do work together straight off the bat up against Oxygen. Now we're going to go into the picks and bans to try and decipher how things are going to go in this game, although I think this is probably going to be a little bit more difficult, bearing in mind that these two teams are pretty much brand new to an extent, of course. So let's get into them. Let's have a look at the picks and bans in a second, and we will sort of try and decide who's going to win this game. But I mean, from a pure experience together standpoint, I think you would probably favor Oxygen in this one, just based on how Rigo performed last season. Team Sick having to, formerly Team Sick, now coming in as No Mercy, having to come through that qualifier as well. It does make a difference, but let's have a look at the picks and bans. Training Grounds gone from No Mercy. Then, of course, Oxygen getting rid of District. Oxygen then picking a hold of Exhibit. Then Icebound coming up next. Bunker going from No Mercy. Mascot then banned by Oxygen. And Asylum is what we will see last. Anything to read into here, Through?
Not too much. I mean,
the district
it's
hard,
ban
isn't
is
it? Like, how do you read into it?
No, I know No Mercy have been decent on district, so I'm not surprised to see that one go. And the Asylum kind of pick at the end, that's an old Regal classic, really. So not surprised to see that one kind of coming through. A lot of people like that, picked that right in the previous quarters. It's probably been our most favorite map across the board. So not surprised to see Asylum in. Icebound's going to be an interesting one. It's a very, very fast-paced map. We've seen the Obey have a lot of look on that one in the past, and J-Rage comes from that team, right? So maybe bringing a bit of that into should be interesting to see how they perform. But as you said, early in the days, we don't really know these two teams yet. So, it's up to the teams really at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice litmus test, isn't it, for both these guys to sort of see where they're at. And I think the beginning of last season, remember how crazy that first show was? I'm sort of hoping for that sort of thing again. And it wouldn't surprise me to see that sort of game, when we've seen Obey up against, formerly, obviously, Regal Reserve last season. It was a very, very close game. These two teams sort of in the similar sort of spot in terms of where we would rank them. So hopefully we do have a very, very close game. Now, I'm intrigued for which way are you leaning on this one. I think this is probably one of the harder predictions. It's much harder than the one that we're going to have coming up next potentially as well, because that's going to be a really good game, of course, between Radar and Elevate. But this one, two new teams, new players all over the place, new orgs. It's all on the table now. For which way would you go?
I've kind of got to say with Oxygen, I think they're the team that held their ground in the Pro League. They're three fifths, I guess, very, very strong members, and well, actually 4 in Ashen's he's proven as well. So it's only really that unknown of skills for me that is going to be the question for them. On the other side of things, I think Enemy, they've a little bit of a bigger uphill battle, right? They've just clawed their way through. They had a very close qualifier. If you look back at Obey stomped every qualifier that they came in through. So I actually think this is going to go Oxygen's way. I'm going to go 2-1. I just feel like it might go the distance. As you said, we had a good one last time. And I hope this time it's a third map one again.
We really did have a good one last time around, didn't we? And the first, what was it, a couple of rounds separating them? That's all it was that had come down to. And then, I don't know, both the seasons sort of went a little bit in different directions. It was this very strange game last time round, but some similar names on some of these rosters. Some big changes have been made, but it's the same old story. Exhibit, Icebound, and Asylum. It's still escalation. At least for the rest of the season anyway. Who knows what's going to go on after that. But ready to get into this one in just a second. I think it will be hard to go against Oxygen. I'm sort of with you on that one. No Mercy, very much a new team coming into this. very much haven't had too long to practice together. They were thrown together very much on the day of the Pro League qualification, hadn't played together until they got into that tournament, of course. And that makes a difference. It's that experience together. How long have you had to play together? How long have you had to practice your game? And you're going straight into the deep end here, up against a team like Oxygen. And this is their fight, right? This is both these two teams know they're probably going to be down at third, fourth place, barring a surprise, of course. These are the games you have to win, and it's straight out the gates. Both these two teams know that there's quite a lot on the line immediately, and the pressure has to be there. So you really do need to come out the gates swinging. Of course, as said, when it comes down to a team like No Mercy, we know that it's going to take time for them to develop, but a big win here will kick-start their Pro League up very, very nicely for both two teams. Just have a little problem. We will get in the game in a second. Just having to restart this one, and we'll get into it. We're running a little bit behind here, but we'll get things started very shortly, but excited to get an exhibit. And I'm curious if that typical Obey performance on exhibit sort of translates for any of these guys. There's a couple of players on both teams here who did play for that Obey team last season in the spring quarter, of course, and curious if that does, as I said, translate over into the summer side.
Yeah, it's definitely a question, right? I think on the Obey front specifically, both these guys that they've in J Rage and Ashes, they've made their choice right now. They've chosen where they want to lay. One on this old Regal team, this Oxygen team, and obviously one on the No Mercy side of things. I think both of them will be wanting to beat their own team, their old teammates. That's for sure. And I think actually, given these guys both came into the Obey team at the same time and then disappeared and came back to these separate rosters right at the same time, they've had a very similar path in the Pro League. So realistically, that's going to be a good head-to-head, a good matchup to watch, specifically those two guys.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm really interested to see how Notorious plays because he was sort of hit and miss through the Pro League qualifier. He's one of those that I said he has bundles of potential, but we're just curious to see if he can implement it into playing on literally on a professional level. Like it has come to the point of where we have to see how he does perform here. Is he going to stand out? Is he going to just put up the numbers that he needs to? Are they going to unleash him and just say, right, screw it, just go for it and see what you can do? We know he's a solid player. We know he has the talent, but can he translate that into an escalation game type on this level?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt, right? The individual skill, it's there, right? We saw it in the 2v2s, in the 2v2 major. We saw it in the qualifier. Notorious can play, right? He's a very, very good player. Whether or not he can play mentally at that top level, though, that's the question that I'm looking for, looking for the answer for, is that can he, keep up with the level of play that Elevate, Rated R are putting out? Not in terms of the 1v1s, but, is he rotating at the right time? Is he backing off fights that perhaps are a bait from the other team? A lot of little things like that. It's a different level when you get to the Pro League. It's a completely different level, and I guess this is the first task for Notorious, is this pretty stacked Oxygen team.
Well, here we go into it. It is the summer quarter through. Happy to have you back. Happy to have all you guys in the chat with us once again, and back in another 6 weeks of action of Gears of War here in Europe. There'll be No Mercy on the COG side, and on the Swarm will be Oxygen. Let's see, though, as both two teams fighting for control of this middle area initially. Kills starting to run on through, and that is actually going to be for Oxygen. Fractures and Skills starting to pick up kills. Playing very, very well, Fractures, typically on this map. As of recent, we've seen in the major how powerful he was proven to be. Down low here with the shotgun, up close and personal. Fractures continuing his run, finds another as well, and it's looking like Oxygen are putting on the pressure straight away here. A couple of kills coming in their favor, and of course those long respawn timers are really what's going to slow things down here for No Mercy, but they are going to be able to get out. Red Knight trying to force something here, but will be still continuously pushed back here through.
Yeah, Notorious just missed that down on Skills as well, which means this Oxygen team will pressure this A hill very, very quickly, and they look to dominate. Physics, the only one alive here, will get the touch, and you can see actually the rest of No Mercy are trying to filter in through this outside spawn entrance. Not going to be enough though. Oxygen, they're going to be getting their first round on the board, and that's the first one in the whole quarter.
Nicely done. And that's just a case of picking up a couple of kills initially, getting the kills in the middle, and then pushing forward with your advantage. And they do that very, very well, Oxygen. Nicely done. I'm going to really keep an eye on Skills here. Of course, there's a lot of hype around him, and he's a young gun coming into it, and without that much experience, but who better be surrounded by players like Cougars and Zork, people like this, and there's just so many good, well-versed players to help him through his Gears esports career, and let's see if he does flourish. But similarly, on the other side of No Mercy, you got Notorious there as well. So
I think Fractures and Cougars, really, they were in the same position, right, at the pretty much the same time in Gears of War 4, in that they were on that old Lucent squad, and they were, you know, trading back and forth players with that Regal team, but they were pretty much an unknown factor at that point, and they came through to be some of the best players in the game, given a little bit of coaching, a little bit of support from their team members. So, yep, totally right. If Fractures and Cougars, and actually the rest of the team as well, can really help mold these new players in this Pro League. See him now actually getting a double kill. We'll end up rolling into Physics. Physics won't miss that one. Cougars trying to get a bit of retribution here as Physics has to run off. A little bit of a tag there from Cougars will keep Physics weak. But Cougars, he's chasing him. He really is. Zorkos is having to back out as well. And that was a nice bit of play from Physics. I would have just liked to have seen him carry on back in round. He had some support on the bridge, and Reader could potentially have got himself out of that one.
Nicely done by Oxygen once again, though. They just win those first couple of gunfights in the middle. Suddenly, No Mercy need to find a different angle here. Push up at the top, though, from Notorious and Reader. And the ones that are going to be looking towards A, but Oxygen well equipped for this one. Both these two teams just posturing at this moment in time, but Oxygen quite happy to sit back on their 2-cap. That win condition will arrive for them very, very shortly. Red9 is going to get it down here towards the bottom side. J-Rage finds another as well, so Skills is going to drop, and this might now be the moment for No Mercy to start moving. They still have these two members up top, but where's the push going to come from? Oxygen choose to back on down, probably the wisest move, but No Mercy making inroads. They will get a hold of B here. Seeing B in their control now. A, the only thing belonging to Oxygen.
Point lead is pretty substantial, though, for now. They've got time to... Oh, that's beautiful from Jay. Can he get back there and get Physics up? I'm not sure about that one. You see, actually, Jay's going to get taken out. Fractures takes out Physics as well, his old teammate. And the break will come through just in time as well, as that A hill is also under contestation.
Yeah, the air fight is ongoing, but Oxygen will just about keep a hold of this one now. Looks like they were potentially going to lose B there, but they now have pushed them out. Reader though, over the top once again. It's a real tactical round of Exhibit. Nicely done by Physics, though. He's going to catch out Fractures. Now this could be the moment. Why No Mercy do try and find something here. They find the kill. The flashes come through. Cougars is now going to be pushed out. They've got to hold the lanes that they need to. J-Rage is going to go down in the middle, though. Could have waited on the rest of his team for the support. There's going to be Ashens to find that kill in the middle. He's going to find another as well with the help of his teammates. Can he keep it on going as well? Notorious there to try and do something about it. Oxygen just suffocate their opponents, though, and B will be taken. Very nicely done. It's only taken me about 3 minutes to pick up an Oxygen pun, by the way. Disgraceful that I've come out with that so early. There you go. Oxygen looking so good so far.
It is a bit disgraceful, but we like it. We appreciate them.
I'm glad you do. Domination ticks in 2-0.
Someone's got to.
Yeah, no, true. 2-0 about ticking here for Oxygen. The domination denied is only momentary. 2-0 now. Looking very, very solid here. No Mercy asked a couple of questions of it there, but never really looked likely, did they? There was a couple of moments where they tried to get something going, but so far so good for Oxygen. Fairly flawless. Fairly flawless.
Absolutely. I mean, the slaying has been pretty much the Oxygen team and them alone, really. The flourish of kills has always been red on that kill feed. And I guess that's really, you know, what Red9 was trying to say for his team, right? In that they've got a good bunch of slayers. They can all fight. I think the Oxygen, they're pretty much the same. No Mercy +1 in terms of their skill level, their experience, and honestly their slaying prowess as well at this point.
Ashens now trying to scope out where he can. Playing on the tag of Eddie now, so are we going to stick with Eddie? Are we going to go with Ashens?
Go with Eddie. It's in his gamer tag, I guess.
I suppose. We don't want to confuse the viewers, do we, for...
No.
Physics and Code up, trying to get back into this game. Good shots there. Is he going to be able to land enough onto Eddie again? Not quite. Physics is going to go down. And it's just these initial battles for Oxygen, isn't it? They seem to win them every single time, and No Mercy are just not at the races when things kick off, and you really need to be on Exhibit. That 2-cap really can be draining. There is other routes around. They've tried them so far, but to no avail in the first 2 rounds. No Mercy going to have to fight back from behind once again.
That they are. To push out here a little bit. You can see Physics trying to get hold of the corridor. J-Rage as well gets it down. Supported by Red9. Physics as well on the right-hand side. They'll start to push through here. into the aquarium side of things, and they'll start to try this retake attempt on the B hill. See, actually, Physics going to go forward now. We'll get that decap. And for a few seconds, there should be no Mercy's point. They really do need to hold on to this for quite a while, though. You can see that point lead again, 50 points strong. Oxygen now making the push. Trying to find Red9 here as Red9 backs out. J-Rage should be able to get the revive, but instead he's going to try and find the kills. We'll get the down on Skills, but in the end gets taken out. A revive perhaps would have been a little bit better situated at that point in time.
Yeah, Red9 just couldn't get out in time, could he? Gets taken down, and then the situation's always difficult. But Notorious rolling into Eddie there. Not looking so good for Notorious
just take
initially.
A look.
Is it taking them a bit of time to get into it?
Take a look at that scoreline. 9, 10, and 0 right now.
Oh, good lord.
He's on 20-0 almost.
Jesus,
what a way to start summer.
Well, if you can keep this going, this team's going to look very, very scary. Oxygen so far, though, they look clinical off the initials. They look great when they've got the holds. Yes, it's only a couple of rounds we've seen, but so far so good for Oxygen. Cougars and Kodo trying to lock them in. Zorkos finding two, though. It shouldn't happen. J-Rage now, can he find him? Can he take him down, or can Zorkos find another here as well? He does indeed. That's 3 kills from Zorkos on his home hill, pretty much on his own. Cougars was there to help, but honestly, I don't think he needed him. That's C&B in control of Oxygen. They're going to lock this round in, and Ashens keeps on going. 10 kills, 10 assists, and no deaths. It's his playground right now, and Exhibit 3-0 to Oxygen right now, and they are looking solid.
Really is. I'd love to see that scoreboard for just a bit longer. 10, 10, and 0. He's right in binary at the top of that scoreboard there. 7, 7, and 0 as well for whoever was behind him. It was Zorkos. 3 of them in that last fight alone. Look at that. That's some solid performance, isn't it, from Eddie and Zorkos so far. They carry this one up. This should be a very, very quick map. A very, very clean sweep as well. Incendiary's going to get placed down here on the No Mercy side of things.
Yeah, they need something different, and they need it pretty quickly. Things are not looking good for them so far. Although we have said, we repeated it multiple times, this team will need time. They will need time, but
absolutely.
I would also expect maybe a couple of rounds, though, in fairness. We don't want to see them get sweeped.
We do not. We do not. And Reader makes that opening kill. Flashbang's going to come out here for Noto as he's trying to push forwards a little bit, but has to go back. The reverse flash is great. And actually there is one to the right as well. It's Eddie. Lancering down here. Just get the down. The revive comes in quick this time. And can Notorious do anything about it? It looks like he cannot, but J-Rage and Red9, they can. They're going to come through. The cog domination denied for a second here as Cougars just dodge that wrap shot. Cleans up J-Rage as well in the process. And this is a nice little 1v1 fight here between these two.
Cougars has played this so well as well. He's played that so well. He's just bided his time. And the thing is with him finding those kills in the middle there to slowed everything down. No, Messi found a flurry. And the fact that Cougars could answer back and find a couple himself just slows down that push. And it's ultimately the reason they have a hold of B now. Really well done by Cougars. Oxygen. Although it looked like they were maybe going to get dominated there. No, Messi can get it on the board for the first time. Have just turned it around. Skills finds 2 kills down low as well. Physics in no man's land. B is now going to go over towards Oxygen again. They flip a switch. And once again, they are in control. Much better from No Mercy off the break there, but couldn't quite hold it.
Couldn't quite. Could not quite. And with this 2-cap, they should be able to claw back just 20 points or so. Oxygen, they are set up a little bit here. Cougars having to drop back, was getting pressured and peppered from up top, so it makes the wise choice, in my opinion, at least to back down and not take too much damage. Reader as well, still getting some shots down onto Cougars from up top, but no hills up top, no points up top, so realistically it's all about trying to make some movement there for your team to start to pressure their way through. J-Rage is going to go down. We'll find the revive in just a second. The push continues here as Physics. Red9, they've put themselves in a little bit of a trap here. You can see a nice little up coming from Physics. Will rescue them for the time being. But the pincer move was there from Oxygen. That's a nice little play from them. If not executed perfectly, it was definitely the right choice. No Mercy now pushing forward with those flashbangs. We'll find a little bit of damage. Physics has to roll out, and as they do that, they get the B decap. A will also trade places here, but it looks like Skills and Zorkos once again defending that hollow side of things. We'll get another kill here. Physics falls.
It's fallen for the last time as well. I said J-Rage already gone. It's now 2v5 as everybody starts on drop. And for No Mercy there, the round looks all right, and then suddenly you're just in a bad spot. You can't lose this many kills and expect to win rounds late on. Rita is doing as best he can. He does find a couple of kills, but he is going to go down. Red 9, the only one left now for No Mercy. And this is a bad spot to be in. Red 9 can be played with a little bit here. Can he find anything? No, he cannot. Cougars sends him to the respawn queue and sends Oxygen 4-0 up here. No Mercy, unfortunately, not able to get anything done. Is that the ambulance coming for No Mercy right now? Because they need resuscitating here through. It's not looking good.
It's not at all. It's not at all. They seem to be flying down the high street. I'm sorry if you can hear
I hope the stream heard it, or I sound like even more of an idiot than usual.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. But there was a lot of ambulance and police presence, so yeah, perhaps they are coming with that defib.
Oh,
question is what they're going to place. Drop shot, is that up top? I think that is up top.
I mean, you know what? It's sort of the thing that needs to be done at this point, doesn't it? If you're 4-0 down, do something different.
Yeah.
Do something different. I'm such an average. I hate seeing it when a team is getting battered 4-0 and they just keep doing the same thing and they just mirror match. What's the point? It's not working. Do something different. Try something new.
I totally agree with you. I think
it's good to know.
It's one of those things where some teams, like especially this early in the season as well, right? I kind of think no one's really going to have a full hang of what each other are prepping apart from Rated R and Elevate in that specific matchup. So at this point in time, as long as you've practiced something, you can pull it out the bag because no one's really going to have an answer to it. And this drop shot actually seems to be working here for No Mercy. J-Rage gets 3 straight off the bat. But the question is what are they going to get in terms of points for it? They are going to get that E-Hill. They have got the F-Hill and the domination. It's going to be locked in pretty soon. Yep, I think this is going to be it. No Mercy getting their first round on the board.
Well, there you go. Change it up, and you get results. I think, what is it? The definition of insanity is trying something, the same thing over and over again, and continuing to try it, even though it's not working. They try to change it up. They have done. They get around on the board. Easily done. Now, the question is, do Oxygen just block that drop shot out and say, well, let's just go back to what we were doing?
Yep. I suppose then you have the opportunity to place something else big right down bottom, but at that point, maybe you're getting a little bit too crazy if you start placing boom shots as well. Disable's going to come down on those incens. So that drop shot will remain. They will fight for it again.
Well, let's see if the comeback can really be mounted here from No Mercy. Going to continue for that drop shot. A little more focus going on up here is what's maybe allowing them to get back into this game. Let Notorious get in these 1v1 situations, etc. Well, he really hasn't been able to, you know, spread his wings so far. 3 kills, 1 assist, 11 deaths is not how you want to start your Pro League career. However, if he can get a hold of this drop shot and get his team back into this game, then maybe they are going to be cooking. But right now, Fractures is just killing everybody down low as 3 members of No Mercy go down. Concentrating on the drop shot, but everything else has went the direction of Oxygen down low.
It really has, and that point lead again. That's the crucial thing here. That point lead is ticking up for Oxygen. It means No Mercy will have to make a push at some point. They can't just sit here and hold this bridge off. They're going to fight 3v3 downstairs, but at this point in time, Oxygen, they seem to have the number, and you can see J-Rage coming with the defense down there. Has to fight off, has to back off. Fracture's going to get another down on Reader, another kill on Reader. This is huge from the Spaniard right now. Zorka's pushing up, trying to get a bit of damage down on his former teammates here, and they will rotate back round in a sec. Yep. They are going to decide that actually, you know, we've got 2 hills. We don't need to push too far. Let's just set up a defense, make sure we get these points.
Well, here we go. J-Rage is eventually going to push towards the drop shot. They will get a little bit of priority on the bridge here, although they're not in the best position. J-Rage is going to be lit up, though, and now he's down behind the pillar. Notorious is going to have to help. He can't help, and there you go. The lasers come through and finish the jump for Cougars. Skills and code up. They have a hold of 2 points. The drop shot would be a bonus here as well, but here we go. This fight is going to continue. They will get a hold of it. Notorious will drop before they do. Nicely done by Oxygen. 35-second win condition for the map is now about to pop up, and now they have the drop shot as well. No Mercy need pretty much a miracle here to get back into this one. Cougars will set up. Down low is the push. J-Rage probably dead. His teammate
Beautiful.
just about survives it, but Cougar's very patient with it. And Oxygen, 20 seconds away from locking in the first map of the Pro League here for themselves and for the whole quarter. And honestly, they're being good money for it. 10 seconds to go. Physics, it should be dead as well. Very, very well played.
Very, very well played indeed. You can see just business now as they close this one out. Just 2 seconds left until they lock in that 5-1 victory. Oxygen, they really are looking very, very good, Chris. No Mercy on the other hand, though. A few questions to be asked.
Yep, a shaky start for them, but Oxygen come out the gates flying. A really, really nice performance on Exhibit, and honestly, they pretty much dominated every single facet of that game. The kills were very much on their side. They out-rotated where they need to. They won their initials, which is pretty much what was the catalyst for the rest of the rounds for them, and then they clutched up when they needed to as well. A perfect performance out of Oxygen, almost. Okay, of course, they did lose that one round, but for No Mercy, that is not the best start that they would have wanted. Of course, as said, I'm going to completely, repeat myself over and over again. This team will need time. However, we maybe want to see a little bit more from some of their star players. I don't want to put pressure on players like Notorious, but he's the guy that you look at where you want to find numbers, you want to find these initial kills to maybe try and turn around into something. Just didn't happen that time around for him, though.
It didn't. He was getting shut down, to be quite honest with you. A final total of 3 kills, 1 elim, and 12 deaths is not how you want to start your Pro League, for sure. No. You're right, they need time, but all of these players, they've played many a scrim against each other at this point, Chris. They've played many a tournament. They know that you can't be dropping them kind of numbers if you want to win. And that's kind of my bottom line, at least, is that this next map, I want to see a better performance.
Yeah, I think even just from a slaying aspect, we need to see a lot more from them. When it comes down to it, we can talk about how well Oxygen played, etc. But if you're not winning your 1v1s, that's what's going to happen. I mean, nobody was really firing. It's a disappointing start for them, don't get me wrong, but they've got time to bounce back. It is only one map, and maybe in a couple of weeks' time we'll be looking back on this thinking, oh, well, why did they have such a bad start? It's only one map, it's only Exhibit. Let's get on Icebound, see if things do change. It's a very, very different map, a little bit more fast-paced, if you like, although Exhibit is quick itself anyway. But it's a different map. Let's start something different here for No Mercy. They just wipe the slate clean, so to speak, and go into this next game, try and find some kills off of those initials, and maybe it's a completely different game. Because that's where Oxygen found their luck. They find a couple of kills in the initials, they grind out the rounds fairly convincingly. But if you're No Mercy, you win a couple of those gunfights in your direction, suddenly it's a very different round. So hopefully No Mercy can get something going here on Icebound. But for Oxygen, I think there's a lot of positives to take from that. They just look calm and composed. Calm and composed.
Yeah.
Some big performances from a new player coming into the roster as well is always a nice thing to see.
Yeah, I think, we've said enough about Notorious, but let's talk about skills for a second. He really did show up. He opened up, had a double kill in the very first round, almost a triple, and throughout the whole kind of performance, really didn't have a step wrong. I couldn't fault him, to be honest with you. He seemed to have fit into that roster very, very well. And Eddie too, as well. I mean, we called him out 10, 10, and 0 at one point, ended with 12 and 12, I think, and a fantastic opening performance from him on a new roster. Obviously, both of those players have kind of fit into this new group of players very, very quickly and very, very well. They look like a seasoned practice roster from everything that I saw. Their setups were good. They were backing out at the right time. They obviously had a very kind of clear game plan, and that was get control of that 2-cap early and gain that point lead. They look very good.
Yeah, and I think when you look at a player like Ashens, he slots into this roster nicely. He looks like when they pick these two players up, they look at Ashens, they know they don't have to worry about anything that he does. It's just integrate him in their team. He will do his job. He has done all season for Obey when he was in that team. Look good in that aspect. For skills, it's about, trying to sort of, produce him into being a good player. And he did his game plan there. He obviously played very, very well.
Yeah.
Ashens, you don't have to worry about skills as a player. They have to sort of nurture and just sort of mold themselves around to see if he can bring something to the table. But both players played as well as you could have asked for in their first map on a competitive basis, and they find themselves 1-0 up in the series. We're going to be going in Icebound in just a second as well. I'm curious to see if No Mercy can bring something different here. Again, it can come down to something so simple as winning your initials, and then suddenly it's a very different game. So hopefully we see a little bit more from them.
Yeah, I think the initials is a really good point, actually, Chris. You mentioned that both these maps are kind of head-to-head in the middle, but there's a little bit of a key difference, in my eyes at least, is that, on Exhibit, you can stop, right? You can halt and you can play that initial, although you have to play it, you can play it a little bit slower. You've got time. On Icebound, you don't have that luxury. You have to hit that middle. You know, it's either up at that trading post or down on that ice field. You have to hit the middle and you have to fight for it at the get-go, because if you let that trading post control go, you're giving up full map control, and it's really difficult to then get it back, especially in the early rounds when you don't have an incendiary to kind of rely off, or an extra flash grenade. So look for these opening fights to be taken. Look for J Rage and Noto to be in those fights and really kind of trying to make a difference at that early stage, because this time you don't have enemy having to think about what Oxygen are going to do. They're just going to have to execute on their own game plan.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? Just try and execute the best way you can play it and see how it works out. But Icebound out. Moving on to this one. Based on what we've seen on Exhibit, I'd be very surprised if this isn't 2-0, though. I think.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to completely judge No Mercy off one map, which just sounds like what I'm doing, but based on how they won it and how Oxygen won their rounds, it was just convincing off those initials and trying to do something from there, and ultimately that's how they won the game. But here we go into the second map. Can No Mercy bring something different to the table here, or is it going to be same old story? Oxygen, though, with a good start on map number 1, can they continue this pressure on? Or can No Mercy bounce back? It will be No Mercy now on the Swarm side, and Oxygen on top.
Very, very interesting to see Physics, the first one in here, on the Swarm side of things. Oxygen on the Cog side of things do start to get a couple of downs, though, and you can see Red9 gets cleaned up, as does J Rage. Physics 2 and Skills, Cougars, and Zorkos all getting a frag to their name, one apiece. Fractures, a good quick rotation around to the B hill, will secure that one, and that's going to be the first hill that gets closed straight back down. Zorkos in a 1v1 against Notorious as well, says welcome to the league. I don't think that's the fight that you really want to be taking as your first 1v1. Zorkos, so seasoned, such a veteran. Cougars as well with a lovely play there, hiding out in the undergrowth. A little bit of a trick player, as they say. Oh. That is beautiful, isn't it? That really is.
Oh, it's a clean sweep from Oxygen. No Mercy eliminated, and if they weren't going to be, they were going to be dominated 54 seconds, and that is very, very well played by Oxygen. And I mean, we needed to see a little bit more there, and didn't get to see it, unfortunately. That's a very quick round. 3 kills coming in from Cougars, and that was an inspired play over towards C, and Oxygen 1-0 up now, looking very, very nice here in the summer quarter, and I'm very excited to see what they do across the whole season. It's really, I mean, it's hard to make a marker, isn't it, with the way that they're playing. Yes, okay, they're looking great against No Mercy, but I want to see how they're going to be playing up against Elevate, up against Rated R.
Yeah, we'll start to see that obviously from next week as we get into those more differential games, I guess, in terms of the placements and the skill levels. But I think at this point, proving themselves against this No Mercy team is their first step, right, to really showing that they are the real deal. These changes that they made are the right choices, and I think so far, I can't fault it. They're looking like a very good team. They're looking like a better team.
Looking very solid so far, but this opening once again has gone in their favor, and they're being pushed back here on No Mercy. They're going to find a couple of kills, though. Backed into a corner. They have found something. Physics in a bad spot. He will just about get away as Zorkos finds 2, and it's those couple of multiple kills that come up, isn't it, for Oxygen? You don't see anything going on, then bang, bang, suddenly there's 2 players dead on the side of No Mercy, and the round's completely turned on its side. Fractures finds 1. Skills now with the flash is going to make the push, as Physics is flashed up himself, now in no man's land with nowhere to go as well. It's just about going to escape with a slither of health, but the rest of his team dropping, and it just seems as if after that initial break, Oxygen have continued this pressure. No Mercy have just got their first points on the board here over towards A. Can that materialize into something for them? Oxygen, no. In a very, very good spot.
They are in a good spot. Look at this. 2 folk in the trading post. You see Fractures as well on the right-hand side. He's got Cross from his right-hand side as well. Very, very nice down there on Reader. Fracture's going to have to leave his teammates to fight it out, but Zorkos more than capable of taking both of Physics and Red9. Will defend that mid side of things. Cougars on the flank as well, trying to find the last one. Where is it? J Rage making his way over towards the B hill. Will get 2v1 in just a second. Good crossfire coming into his backside, as he does have Eddie on the front side as well. 1-5-0 for him, and 2 rounds in a row now for Oxygen. They're looking to make quick work here of No Mercy.
And they are doing that, has to be said. 3 kills combined on No Mercy so far in 2 rounds.
I mean, you got to look at Zorkos as well. 9, 3, and 0 right now. 9 eliminations. 9 kills, sorry. Not even eliminations.
He is causing havoc.
Yep. Against 2 of his old teammates as well. I mean, that was another thing that we didn't really mention in the pregame, but, you know, Zorkos, he's lost all his kind of French comrades, right? His French teammates. Reader's left. Physics is now left. He's on his own in that team, and he's always really been part of a duo. So, interesting to see that actually, even without, you know, his long-term partners, he's still performing at a very, very high level. It's good to see.
Can they continue this? B, once again. It just seems far too easy for Oxygen to get a hold of that midpoint. They've done it every single round. And no Messi, okay, yes, they have got a couple of downs here, but other than that, not really anything to shout about. Oxygen push in, they get a hold of B, they get out relatively unscathed. Can No Mercy answer the question here? Red9 Notorious and J-Rage are the ones making this push in. Oxygen, for all that they get a hold of the middle point and their home hill, of course, don't take any further steps forward. They get this and they will sit on it.
They will indeed. They're just trying to defend this push, right? Just making sure that No Mercy, they can't get this decap. And if they do, the shot grenade is going to come down. You can see the throw goes down there. That's a lovely shot grenade. Perhaps just ever so slightly too close. If Skills had thrown it slightly further to the back and the left, you would have got a couple of downs there, especially with the incoming Lancer fire. But it's enough to stop the cap for now. And whilst you've got a 50-point lead, that's all you really need to do is keep those 1-and-1 caps pretty much evened out. Cougars now with a little bit of a flank. Should cause a little bit of havoc here.
Oh, here we go. Cougars coming in behind, finds 2. Can he find the 3rd as well? J-Rage, the only one left alive for No Mercy. Cougars is currently showing them that. Fantastic stuff from him. And those 2 kills came up very, very quickly. No Mercy, I like that push from them, but they've got to cover their rear. And it's all too easy for Cougars to find them too. And now suddenly, Oxygen back where they were at the beginning of the round, in control. And No Mercy, once again, trying to find a route through this team. Oxygen locked up very, very nicely here for it.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. So they're playing very, very well. I think that's the difference, isn't it, really, between these kind of incoming qualifier teams and the Pro League teams. Any, you know, LFA, Rated R, any North American kind of or Latin American Pro League team worth their salt, they would have known already that Cougars was going to come in. And if they'd have known that, a quick turn and a 3v1 is a very, very easy kill that you can transition into a round at that point, right? And it's just that awareness, just that kind of heads-up play that separates the teams at this point. Individual skill-wise, yes, it comes into play, but more often than not, it's about how you play the map, how you transition a single, you know, slight advantage into something much, much bigger.
And they will turn it into a round 3-0 now. Just easily done. It's just simple for Oxygen. No Mercy, they make an aggressive push, they get countered. Very, very easy for Oxygen so far. Look at the kills now. Notorious, Red9, not a single one to their name. And we are 3 rounds in. It's a difficult spot to be in, isn't it? I mean, look, you can sit back and pick apart No Mercy and what they're doing incorrectly, but they're just not winning their gunfights. And I don't want to say it just comes down to that, but it's a big factor. It's a really big factor if 2 of your team haven't managed to pick up an elimination between themselves. Look, I don't want to count on kills too much in this game, but it's important. And
it is.
The fact that there's 2 sitting down there, it's not a good spot to be in. And it's not something you can necessarily remedy so easily. If your team won't win your gunfights, I mean, how do you counteract that other than don't miss, don't lose? I mean, there you go. That's a little bit better from Oxygen this time round. They're the ones finding the kills once again. Nothing there for No Mercy this time round. Drop shot in the hands of Zorkos. Everything going right for Oxygen.
Yeah, it's looking smooth, isn't it? It's looking very, very nice indeed. Eddie as well, pushing with all the confidence in the world. Doesn't get a kill, but just causing havoc. Just been a nuisance, really. They will back off a little bit. You can see, actually, they don't actually have a point or a ring to their name, but they'll back off. They'll get B hill. Skills gets that kills on Notorious. And actually, the home hill gets capped as well, so I expect this to be pretty quick here. Red9 will go for the revive, and actually, got a question where that drop shot is. That would have been a nice double kill if there had been a slight angle on it. Drop shot comes through there. Zorkos would have had eyes on that double kill, so actually a little bit of a misplay. Gets the single instead. And that's enough just to halt No Mercy at this point.
Slows them down. But Oxygen once again in that have a favorable situation. And I'm really interested to see as the weeks go on where Oxygen are going to be. As Elevate and Rated are, don't get me wrong, very much solidified last season as the top 2. It was without question. And, oh, well, there's your head gone. Zorkus is going to find the top of J-Rage with the drop shot. Going to continue on here with Notorious in front of him as well. Good shots by Notorious though, and he will find Zorkus, and will he be able to find much else for it? Physics is here with him, but he will get shut down. Cougar's getting a nice angle, and they will have to back on down a lot. A good Lancer Fire coming in here from Oxygen. Skills now in a good spot. He's going to get taken down though, and Cougars and Co may have to back on down here as they do lose B. They don't have a hold of A either, but with the round extending, Oxygen not in the best spot now. Notorious, really nice shots on the Cougars. He needs to wake up. That's his first kill of the match. We need to see a lot more of that from Notorious if No Mercy want to get back into this one.
Yep. Yeah, definitely so. Especially when your opposition Slayers are on 15 or so. Eddie gets another one. 3 and 16 and 0. Still not died yet. Eddie performing absolutely fantastically. It's not always about those kills, as we said. Supporting fire is king in Gears 5. If you can get that damage down and just help out, push it over the threshold, it's so easy for your teammates to come up and clean up around you. And when you've got 16 assists and haven't died, that's absolutely brilliant. That really is good.
Trying to cup it up for a couple of kills himself here as well. Staying alive consistently. You know what? I reckon if he hadn't had that chat with me through the week, he wouldn't be playing nearly as well for him.
You reckon that's what it is, yeah?
I think that's what it was, yeah. I mean, the same can't be said for Red 9, unfortunately, but...
People are going to be queuing up outside your Discord room. Let me have a chat.
My Discord room, that sounds a bit... Yep. Oh dear, we've descended into madness. Okay, let's switch it back in here as No Mercy are about to win their first round here. Swarm win conditions popping up. Looking a lot better here. They're going to lose B, but I don't think it's going to matter. Everybody over towards A. The gunfights have won in No Mercy's favour. And there it is, a round on the board. But is it just a consolation? They play that one fairly well. They lock in B after a couple of good fights and just hold it. And you got Notorious picking up a couple of kills in that round and getting his team back on the board. A couple of important 1v1s that he did win. 3-1 now. Not an unsurmountable or insurmountable scoreline for No Mercy to get back from.
No. We've seen teams come back from a lot worse, right? We've seen 4-1s and 4-0s and whatnot. So I wouldn't be against anyone to come back from this point. No Mercy against Oxygen. The way things are going might be a little bit of a tall task for them, but they've got the the key ingredients here. They've got that drop shot. They got those shot grenades as well. So definitely potential. The map's not going to get too much more crazy, I guess, than it is at this point. Or at least I wouldn't think so.
Back into the fray once again. Oxygen won this initial quite handily last time around, but Rita's going to find a free kill on the Cougars there. J-Rage is going to get dropped, but he will get straight back up into this fight. Fracture's now making the push very aggressively and will back on down with his tail between his legs after some good Lancer Fire comes in. Rita goes for the aggressive push, will get a hold of that drop shot. Zorkus tries to clean up as well, and Rita cleans him up with the drop shot. Maybe a little bit overzealous with that one, but for all their good work here, No Mercy have managed to get a hold of it. They've got a hold of the drop shot, albeit with only one bullet left in the chamber, but they got everything they could have possibly wanted from that exchange and will set themselves up very nicely to start this round.
Will indeed. Fracture's doing well just to hide himself in this corner, but a lovely drop shot from Rita will come through the window. Cougars, Fractures, both die. Rita as well gets a bit of a tag on his teammate there. I'm not quite sure what that was about. Maybe just a bit of a hello. Rita now pushing forward. Trying to find Zorkus here. Zorkus waiting on the cover. Does bait the up A. And actually now J-Rage having to run off. Zorkus knows he's got the damage advantage, but in the end, J-Rage, he doesn't back off. He goes forward, gets the kill, and now looking for a second. Will get himself out. Will trade with his teammate, and now is back on the offensive here as he gets a bit of damage down here on Fractures. Fractures can't do anything about it, and No Mercy, they are threatening another domination here, Chris.
I'll tell you what, it's maybe taking them a little bit of time to wake up here, but it's still potentially here, though, for Physics and Co. Skills is going to manage to down him now, and continuation keeps on going. Zorkus is trying to lock this one in for his team. Can't quite find the third, though. This domination that has been lingering for so long should eventually tick in, unless Fractures can get there. He cannot. J-Rage cleans up, and No Mercy, as said, maybe taking a little bit of time to wake up in this game. But 2 rounds in a row, 2 convincing rounds in a row, if anything, coming on through, and suddenly we've got a game on our hands here for it.
Definitely so. Definitely so, and it's all about that initial. No mercy there. They managed to get a nice kill off the initial, and that really did hold Oxygen. Fractures made that really bold push, and you questioned it when it happened, perhaps a little bit too aggressive, because what he did is he got himself weak, and with him being weak, it means he can't be involved in that fight. He has to back off. He leaves his team in a very momentary 5 versus 3, and that's a very easy drop shot pickup at that point.
Yep. It's one of those where he makes a slight misstep, doesn't even die, but that could be something that costs them the round in the end. Definitely was a catalyst to why No Mercy did win that one, getting a hold of that drop shot early, but this time around Oxygen aren't going to afford them that luxury. They push in to try and force the issue, but as I said, Zorkos is the first one down. Reader gets out with it. J-Rage, of course, has the incense as well. Red9's the one to go down from Eddie's on the side of No Mercy, but they get out with it again, Fruit, but this time around they don't get the kills to follow it up and don't get a hold of E, so not quite damage done here for No Mercy, but Oxygen haven't been in the races the past couple of rounds. That scoreboard at the top is incorrect. It's 3-2 to Oxygen now, and as said, No Mercy have a hold of that drop shot.
They do indeed. The question is what do they do with it? Can Reader find another double? That was really a big play in the last round. Reader managed to find that defense, finding that shot with that drop shot. No moves really at this point in time. Looking at that mini-map, teams pretty much spread across the board. You can see No Mercy, they've got about a 15-point lead at this point, so they don't really have to move, especially with that drop shot. Eddie gets down there, but Reader not really in a position to help out. There is a double down coming in, but can Fracture save the day? He does get 1 kill. Zorkos gets cleaned up. Eddie gets timed out as well, so that will be 2 for 1 at this point in time. Notorious pushing in, very, very brave here. Will get pushed very, very quickly as well by Cougars, and that was a mistake, to be honest with you. A little bit too brash, a little bit too quick. Oh, the
no.
drop shot bounces off his nose, right off his noggin. Has to back off.
That's not how it works.
Oh dear.
Hold on.
You have to drop it. The clue is in the name. Drop shot, not bounce shot, not hit in the face shot. You got to drop it straight off the top of the head if you want to get that headshot.
That is tough. That was a funny animation, wasn't it? Just the grenade bounced off his head, and ultimately, I mean, it's worked out for Oxygen as they do get a hold of control. Now Skills is going to find himself in a good spot. Red9 does deal with him though. The continuation keeps on coming though, and No Mercy get a little bit more aggressive and find E for it. Zorkos is there to try and spoil the party though. We'll have to probably back on down here. Oh, the Flash is aggressive. Will he continue? No, he will not. Eventually, he will concede. E now in the hands of No Mercy, but for how long? Fractures now pushing forward. Trying to find an aggressive position here. I thought he was just going to run past and keep getting aggressive towards the spawn of No Mercy, but now Physics inside. Is he going to be able to find anything? Not quite. He is going to get dropped. The second wave of kills is going to go in Oxygen's favor, though. They recuperate. And they retreat back. Then they push forward and get a hold of E relatively easily and right at the correct time as the drop shot comes back up. Nicely done by Oxygen. They may be in push back. They may have lost 2 rounds in a row, but that's a nice retake over towards E. They get the drop shot as well, and this is looking good for them now.
Yeah, they're starting to put a little bit of pressure on, aren't they? Just moving forward a little bit here. The shot grenade was a little bit too late from No Mercy, so didn't quite stop Skills getting hold of this drop shot. And Skills, I think, doing the right thing at this point. The COG team will win in 30 seconds, so as long as they can defend this E-hill and stop this break coming in, they should be okay. You see Skills getting that active, a little bit more potent once you've got that one through, and Reader does fall. Can't see it because the pillar's in the way. All they need to do now is just hold for a couple more seconds. 20 seconds on the clock before the COG team will win. Still 2 hills to defend as well. Where's the drop shot though? Oh, he's fluffed the reload. The down will come in. On the other side of things though, it looks like everyone and their cap from Oxygen are getting kills here, and it looks like they are going to be able to secure this one if they can just hold on to it.
Oh. Nothing coming in here for No Mercy, and eventually Oxygen will close the round out. 4-2 now. And then deserve that one. No Mercy, though, showing signs of life still through the round, though. Reader very much stepped things up for his team here. 12 kills to his name. Nearly as many as 3 of the other players on the team right now. Okay, no, that was a complete lie. Everybody stepped up. Notorious still sitting on 2, but with 17 assists,
yeah, I think
he's at least contributing, isn't he?
Absolutely, yep. I mean, as long as it's not just like 1 pistol bullet and assist, you should be all right. I don't think it is, though, looking at those points and whatnot. I think that's a solid performance, actually, from Notorious at this point in time. He's definitely getting the damage down. We expected him to be in more of a slaying role, more of a slaying capacity, right? But definitely sitting back, being a bit more of a support at this point and letting his teammates do the dirty work. You see actually physics on that front spawn is kind of interesting.
Yeah, not a player necessarily known for being that guy that's going to be first in, head down. But so far, maybe it's not necessarily working, but we'll see as time does go on. Fractures is going to be the first one to find kills, as is Cougars there with Fractures. They find 3 at trading post, and then they will advance forward. The 5th round is what their eyes are on here. It's a good insend, but Cougars at a spot to capture this. The break at E is coming on as well. Reader has to do something magical over towards there. He will get in time to slow this one down. A big fight going on over towards F, though. That's where this one is going to be won or lost. There's No Mercy now trying to get control of this one. That Incend is in a bad spot for them to try and get a hold of it, but Eddie is actually going to kill Fractures here. It doesn't matter, though. Everybody else is going to start dropping for No Mercy. Zorkos and Eddie combining well. The meat shield in. Can he find anything with this? He doesn't need to, as Zorkos' drop shot flies on through. Surely they've got to clean up yet. Oxygen. He is all that is left. They are going to rotate around, but it might be a little bit too late. The domination about to tick on through will allow No Mercy to come back in off the respawn. But is it just
sacrifice?
Yeah,
yep.
I know. Is it just denying the inevitable here, Fruit?
I think it might be. I mean, they have got that ED cap, so they can, they can take a little bit of pressure off here. But looks like Oxygen, they're just going to slay out here. Physics will fall in the end, and you can see it's just all blue, isn't it? All Oxygen at this point. Over on that E hill, there is one remaining No Mercy member, but they're going to get taken out. It's notorious. It's the end of things here, as Oxygen will walk through, and they will look very, very strong as they win that one, 5-2.
Very, very strong out of Oxygen. 5-2, 5-1 in the first map as well. And that is as convincing as you would like to see from a team with a slightly changed roster. And that's the start they would have wanted. Not close by any stretch of the imagination, but No Mercy started to turn up a little bit towards the end of that second map, but far too little too late. Maybe they'll need to build on something as time does go on. Just try and find something new or try and do something a little bit differently. It hasn't went well for them in their first game of the Pro League, but very, very well for Oxygen. I said 5-1, 5-2. They closed that one out convincingly, and I want to maybe concentrate on how well Oxygen played rather than No Mercy. I feel as if,
Yep.
we said our piece on that one. They were winning gunfights for the most of it. When they started to, slay a little bit, things looked a lot more positive, but apart from that, Oxygen very much dominated them on the slaying side of things, and that's why they found themselves in such a convincing winning victory. There we go. They are going to get locked in, but look good for Oxygen there. Honestly, I
Yep.
couldn't really fault them for the most part. Everything was just ticking over very nicely, winning their initials when they did, they usually win the round. You can't really complain in anything you've seen from Oxygen there.
No, not at all. They look really good, to be honest with you. I'm actually surprised at how good they look in this, this first week. Maybe against a little bit of an easier opposition, but honestly, they were strong. Their plays were good. They were obviously working as a team, and you got to look at Zorkos at the end there, mate. 29 kills. We'd have said 29 eliminations would have been good.
It's an effort.
Kills? Whew. Come on, mate. Come on. Leave some room for some limelight for everyone else. 7 assists as well to his name. It wasn't like he wasn't helping on the assist front either.
I mean, when I spoke to Ashens, he said that, this team wants to maybe move away from playing that slow, methodical gears, and they want to go into that quick play. And I mean, if that's anything to go by, all right, you maybe want to say it's against a brand new team. Is this really the test that they needed? We're really going to see when they do go up against Rated R and Elevate to see how good Oxygen are. But if they can perform like that against those teams, then suddenly we've got a really interesting summer ahead, haven't we? But we are going to go for a quick break, and we have a cracker coming up. It's the first week. It's the first time we're going to see Elevate and Rated R take on each other. Don't go anywhere.